Hey, this is Todd McFarlane, creator of Spawn, and you're listening to Gabe Infinity Watch. Keep it up.
Hey everybody, it's Gabe with Gabe Infinity Watch, and on this video, we will be talking about one of my favorite all-time stories that finally has became an omnibus, and that is this bad boy right here, the Fantastic Four Omnibus, written by Mark Waid, art by the late, great Mike Wieringo. So we'll get into the details of that shortly. I will also talk about the 3 oversized hardcovers, and we'll go over the differences, the similarities, and give you some tips and some bullet points on if you should upgrade or not. So all that's coming up next. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. This is Gabe Infinity Watch, and today we are going to take a nice deep dive and hopefully in depth enough for all of you on this brand new Fantastic Four Omnibus by the great Mark Waid and the late great Mike Wieringo. So this is the newest omnibus to come out. This is the newest Fantastic Four omnibus to come out in a very long time. What was the last Fantastic Four omnibus to come out from Marvel? Had to be, is it the Matt Fraction run? Or was it Jonathan Hickman's Volume 2? Either way, I don't know off the top of my head. Doesn't really matter. It's been a long, long time since we've had a omnibus release from the Fantastic Four. So we'll get into a nice in-depth look into this as well. Here we have the front cover of the book. This is the cover for Fantastic Four 60, which Marvel put out at a 9-cent introductory, buy it because it's only 9 cents. It's not going to break the bank. Kind of a price just to get this book into people's hands to start this new run by Mark Waid and Mike Wieringo. So it's a great image. It's probably one of the better images used for the Fantastic Four on this series. But let's get into the actual book itself, or at least the turnaround. So here's a front cover. We'll spin it around a little bit. Here is the spine. It's an all-white spine. You get a great, a great thing image down here at the bottom of it. The classic Marvel Omnibus logo up top. Fantastic Four by Mark Waid, Mike Wieringo, and a list of the other contributing artists like Carl Kessel, Beckingham, Jones, Porter, Smith, and Medina. And then here's the back cover. Cover price is $100 on this book, which is pretty typical for this size. This is actually a steal, especially if you could get this on discount, InStockTrades.com, Amazon. Maybe you get a discount through your local comic book store, whatever the case might be. $100, or even if you get it for less, this is well worth it. It is collecting Fantastic Four 60 through 70. And then 500 through 524. Right after 70 is when they did the numbering change back to the original Legacy numbering, because of course it's a 500 issues, kind of an anniversary tale, all that kind of stuff, which is that cover. This is a director's cut edition. This is one of my favorite images of all time of Doctor Doom, and that came out of this series from Mark Waid. It is like a foil before you started getting all crazy about foils like we are today. Great book, great issue, great cover. But though that's the contents. Here is basically the book block. You kind of see how thick it is. And then we're back to the main cover again. And let's go ahead and do this one more time. But let's take that dust jacket off so that we could see that great image in a virgin, raw, however you want to call it, format. I think this is the only time I've seen this cover or this image without like a trade dress or anything else like it. It's the exact same thing all the way around. It's the same spine design, the same back as well. We'll take a look here at the binding. Got a great light blue Fantastic Four color blue and white ribbon on here as well. The binding is nice and pretty loose on here. You can see the eye hole. I did relax this already in prep. You do need to relax the spines of these omnibuses just to kind of keep them from getting cracked or damaged. But this thing lays nice and flat. Got a nice little eye hole on it as well. I hope that shows up well. But yeah, there we go. All right, so now let's go ahead and let's take a flip through the inside. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look through the Fantastic Four Omnibus. We'll flip through this, but first, I got a lot of questions from people already ahead of the video asking if it's the same content as the 3 oversized hardcovers, if that's the same content that's in the Omnibus. I will dive into that after we go through flipping through the book itself and discussing the storyline, discussing kind of the controversy, things that happened during the making of this storyline with Mark Waid and Mike Wieringo. That will be towards the end of the video after we get done with, again, just the overlook into the book itself. So that will happen. This will come back. We'll talk about that shortly. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and let's dive into the Fantastic Four Omnibus by Mark Waid and Mike Wieringo. So start off with the title page here. This great image of the 4. Love, love, love. I'll say it a few more times probably throughout this overview. Love Mike Wieringo's thing. I love his Susie. Perfect character designs for these characters from Mike Wieringo. Credits pages on here as well. Writers Mark Waid. Carl Kessel did do some writing on issues 514 through 516. We will get into that a little bit later as well, probably when we get more to that part of the story. Mike Wieringo, his issues. Mark Buckingham did some issues. Casey Jones, Howard Porter, Paul Smith, Paco Medina. We'll get into that as well as we get into the story as well. So we get this great introduction here by editor Ralph Macchio. Not that Ralph Macchio, not the Karate Kid Ralph Macchio, but an editor. I think he was editor-in-chief for a hot second. I might be wrong. Correct me if you want, that's fine. But he was, no, I'm sorry. He was not editor-in-chief. He was up for the position once or twice, I think, and turned it down, probably rightfully so. That's a tough job for anybody. So either way, great introduction here by Ralph Macchio. Talking about how he feels about Fantastic Four, about their villains, this run in particular with Mark Waid, all that kind of stuff. So here's another great image of Fantastic Four 60. And this story is one of those great stories of the Fantastic Four. This is the number one for me. I recommend this wholeheartedly to anybody who is interested in learning about the Fantastic Four, who may have not read the Fantastic Four before and is curious now because of the movie rumors, or maybe you see them pop up now that they're back, quote unquote, in the Marvel Universe again. Maybe you've been interested in picking up the Fantastic Four and you want a good spot to kind of get a good foundation. This storyline by Mark Waid and Mike Wieringo is my number one suggestion when anybody asks for a good starting point for the Fantastic Four. And the main reason for that is Mark Waid has an absolute perfect hold on the characters. Not only just is he a great writer when it comes down to superhero books and the big beat 'em up, crossover, punching people in the face stories, which we do get in here, but the Fantastic Four are not superheroes. I always like to think of, and so does Mark Waid and other people as well, that they are adventurers. They don't go out there and just save the day. They kind of just discover. Well, they are best written when they are doing things that are more adventure, when they discover problems as opposed to going after the problems, or the problems find them, or situations find them. And you get a lot of that in here as well. Great family dynamic. Fantastic Four is a family. You get some really, really creepy stuff here with Franklin in this run as well. Now, don't let Mike Wieringo's kind of cartoony style kind of throw you off if that's the kind of thing that you don't like. If you like more super realistic, hyper detailed stories or art. But Mike Wieringo on here is the absolute perfect for this story. For the fun, for the adventure, for the good times. These kind of character moments here, like Reed and Susie, having a nice little kiss. This scene here, they are at Times Square because Reed Richards feels that he works better in kind of a dynamic, crazy element where it's busy, there's traffic, people around him, stuff like that kind of helps get his mind going. And through this storyline here, this is the first storyline, it's called Sentient. It's about a program that Reed Richards creates that comes to life. But what's fun through here as well, here we go, I'm sorry, right in the middle of my sentence, I came across this page. These are the things that this book is all about. These character moments. It's Ben and it's Susie going to a movie together as friends. It's great here because Ben has his own reserved seat. This is extra long, basically like bench couch kind of thing because it's the thing. He's so huge. It's probably super reinforced as well. But things like that. These character moments, they're just going to a movie together. They're talking. Before the movie starts, of course. I don't think they're that rude to talk during the movie. But this is how they talk and kind of, like what you do with your family. You kind of figure things out in different environments. And again, we get the Sentient program that comes after Reed Richards and the family because he's trying to just make everything perfect and take away things that are obsolete. So really cool, fun story. This is kind of like a good primer into the storyline that we get, like the heart and the meat of this run a little bit later in. And let me flip through this a little bit faster for you guys. I'm gonna hit more story, more art, and not just do this page by page because this is way too big of a book to go just page by page by page. So earlier I was also talking about how there's a little bit of a controversy with this series. You may see that the art changes a little bit here. This is not Mike Wieringo at all. A little bit later after a couple issues of their run, Mark Waid was actually fired from the Fantastic Four book. He was fired from this storyline. This storyline is basically considered Mark Waid's Fantastic Four. But he was fired off the book by then president of Marvel because he wanted the Fantastic Four to go into a completely different kind of storyline, a different route that Mark Waid felt would have completely changed the personalities of each character, where they'd be almost unrecognizable. So he was fired off the book. Mark Wieringo went with him. And for a little bit of time here, you got a different... Carl Kessel took over for the writing. Howard Porter did the art. And after, I believe it was a letter writing campaign by the fans, which eventually brought back... Oh, this unthinkable storyline is fantastic. I'll flip through it real fast. I don't want to spoil anything. So that letter writing campaign or online presence or whatever it was, the fans did is really what kind of sparked the return of Mark Waid and Mike Wieringo back to their run. This is their run, and they returned. Basically, what it was, like I said, they wanted it to be a different direction that Mark Waid didn't want to go with. Mark Waid thought that he made a good compromise and changed the story to fit what they wanted without drastically changing who the Fantastic Four were. So when he came back, he just went right back to the way he was going. I'm sure he made some kind of adjustments that help appease, the higher ups of Marvel, what was going on. Doesn't really seem to affect the story that well or that much. It's still fantastic. Nothing really changed anything in here because of that. But that different take of the Fantastic Four that they were talking about, that would have changed the whole idea and personalities of the Fantastic Four, that later turned into Marvel Knights 4. That basically introduced us to Steve McNiven. That was, if not the first Steve McNiven book for Marvel, it was at least one of his early first times we had him on a Marvel book, and that introduced us to Steve McNiven, who, if you don't know who that is, he's the man who did Civil War, Old Man Logan, stuff like that. So this is the Howard Porter part of the book. This is already, I believe, after Mark Waid and Mike Wieringo were already fired off the book. This is the storyline where the Fantastic Four, or Reed, takes over Doctor Doom's castle and kind of takes over Latveria and tries to make Latveria different and trying to make changes to Latveria and overthrow Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom, I think, I forget. It's been a while since I read the story. I'm sorry, but I think Doctor Doom was missing at the time. Nobody knew who he was, and his country was kind of falling apart without their leader. But as you can see, Doctor Doom does return. And that goes into a whole other crazy, super great storyline as well here, too. I'm going to skip this because there's a spoiler coming up. I'm going to try to skip a little bit of this, too. So here's the return of Mike Wieringo and Mark Waid on Fantastic Four. This is right at the heart of some of the best stuff you're going to see in this book. I'm trying to flip through some things here and not get too spoilery. I'm trying to flip through here and not spoil what's going on, where they're located, or any of that stuff. Okay, so we're past all that story. I don't want to spoil that. The part here where they get back, where Mike Wieringo and Mark Waid come back, is one of the greatest, hardest hitting stories you're ever going to read. Hard hitting in like the feels and the emotion, and a great hold that you will get and understanding that you will get on the family dynamic of the Fantastic Four. So we'll just flip through this some more. This is already getting a little too long. I don't want you guys to get bored with this already. But yeah, here is how great the book looks internally. We've got some quasar action going on here. Some great cosmic stuff happens here as well. If you don't know what's going on already, there's a really crazy thing that happens with Johnny. Get some Galactus action too. So here, that is basically what we get story-wise. I'm trying to get over here to the damn supplemental stuff. All right, so supplementals. You get an introduction from Mark Waid. Two introductions, actually, because these were this exact introductions that were taken out of the hardcovers. The oversized hardcovers. So this is introduction Fantastic Four. It even says up here Fantastic Four Volume 1 hardcover. So it's the same introduction that we get here. Number 2, well, guess what? That's the same introduction we get here in the hardcover, in the second hardcover. There's some really cool artwork here for some connecting covers that Mike Wieringo did for the Fantastic Four. This is actually before their run. So Mike Wieringo was already working on Fantastic Four art before he actually was a part of the title officially with the interiors. Really cool Wizard article here as well. Well, not the article, but this is the cover Mike Wieringo did for that Wizard. I have that issue of Wizard, but I have the wrong cover. I got this stupid movie cover. I don't know why. I need to find this cover. I don't want this cover. But it's a great article. It's basically a career-spanning article on Mark Waid. You get some Fantastic Four stuff in here as well, because this is all before his story took place, before he started writing Fantastic Four. Well, he was writing it at the time, but before the issues were actually released. So that's Wizard 132. Hunt that down if you want to read a really cool article. These are great too for these reprinted Wizard editions for Fantastic Four 488, First Appearance of Silver Surfer. You get this really cool. This has an acetate over it, the actual cover, which is like a see-through plastic kind of cover overlay, and then this is it without the overlay. So you get it's Silver Surfer, and then it's Galactus crunching a planet. So here is Mike Wieringo's original sketches for covers. '68, '69, and then the rest of these are unused covers. Like here's the Thing getting beat up by a bunch of mindless ones. So Doctor Doom cover here. A lot of these were just not used. I can see why. There's really not much going on in some of these covers. They're great images. It could have been used for panels instead. Maybe they were. I have to kind of flip through it and see. Doesn't matter either way. But these are some unused covers. Some more unused covers. Here's the Fantastic Four cover with Johnny and Galactus, which is great. Some more unused covers. That's an actual cover here. I love this cover. This is one of my favorite covers of all time. It's just great family holding, all for one kind of situation. Here it is. I love that image very much. There's just a family element to that image that's just really excellent. But this is deleted scenes, scripts, some annotations as to why things were changed. You even get some commentary on here by Mike Wieringo as well throughout this. So this commentary or this extra material is perfect. This is the kind of stuff that you want to be able to sit down and read. Don't just flip through. It's not just sketches and stuff like that. And you get this Hembeck stuff that I'm not a fan of. You get, I love this. This is every Fantastic Four cover leading up to the start of their run, or through the end of their run, up to 500. So you get the first 500 issues. That's what this is. Some more deleted scenes. An email exchange between Mark Waid and Tom Brevoort. And this is really nice too. This is a nice farewell drawing. Mike Wieringo did this, of course, before he died, of course. But this is a nice kind of farewell image to end this book on, now that Mike Wieringo is no longer with us. And that, everybody, is that. All right, everybody. So this is the part where, like I promised, we'll talk about, should I upgrade, if you already have the 3 oversized hardcovers, to the Omnibus. I will give you the ins and outs, the pointers, some of the bullet points that you might want to take a look at if you're considering upgrading from the hardcovers to the Omnibus. All right, so first off, you get all the same exact material that's in the 3 oversized hardcovers in the Omnibus. It's all the same issues. It's all in the same reading order. All that is included. All of the supplemental material, all the backups, the introduction pages is all the same in here. All the scripts, we just went over the scripts and the deleted scenes. All that information, all the covers, everything you get in here is 100% also represented in the Omnibus. So there's absolutely zero difference in material, binding wise, build wise, things like that. I prefer the Omnibus because I like the idea of having everything all in one and under one nice big cover on the shelf. I like the spines better for the Omnibus than the spines for the Fantastic Four. Hardcovers, well, this is backwards, sorry, but that's just the way it was laid out. I just like that better than I do this. So it's up to you how you kind of want your collection to be. I'm probably going to sell these oversized hardcovers. I do have sentimental value to these books. Stand up, full. I do have sentimental value embedded in these hardcovers, but I think I'm going to sell them off. If you want them for like $35 shipped in the US, hit me up, gabeinfinitywatch@gmail.com. I'll sell these things nice and cheap. I just prefer to have the Omnibus on my shelf. I think that looks good where it belongs, on the shelf. But there you go, everybody. I hope this was helpful. I hope everybody enjoyed this segment, which is, should I upgrade or not? I would, just because I like the Omnibus better. But for you guys, if you already have the 3 oversized hardcovers, it might not be worth it to you to upgrade unless you're able to sell these and kind of use that money to put it into the new special pretty nice and new shiny Omnibus. All right, everybody, thanks again. Thumbs up the video, give it a like, thumbs up, like, subscribe, share, all that great fun stuff. I appreciate everybody here who's been checking out my channel on Gabe Infinity Watch. Also make sure that you check out Omnibros Live if you want more information, you want to see me talk about more topics, picks of the week, stuff like that's all on Omnibros Live. I'm going to try and put it here somewhere to get you guys connected to that. But either way, thanks again, everybody. Have a great, great day.